It's repetitive, especially for the people that aren't under the gun for the tornado warning at the moment. But there is a tornado warning, and we're giving life-saving information for these folks in Colleton County. There it is, right along Highway 17. You need to get to the ground floor of your house. You need to get into a small interior room, a place like a coat closet or a powder room that doesn't have windows. A lot of second-story houses, if you get under the stairs on the ground floor, that's a very safe place to be architecturally in your house. That's the kind of place you want to get where the wind can't get in and damage your house. That's where you want to be. So tree branches come down, trees come down. That's where we're going to see some problems. So right now into central Colleton County. Sonia, do you have the velocity pulled up on this one?
I do, yeah. If they want to switch over to max 2.
So
also, let me just read, Dave, some details. So again, we know this goes till 8:45. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Ashepoo, moving north at 30. So again, I kind of drew, we hadn't done this yet today, but just kind of some of the areas that north of Ashepoo community that may be impacted by that.
Burr Hill right there, up towards Sydney. This will continue to head over toward Weeks and Grover, so that's quite a ways away, but it is moving pretty quickly, around 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Not quite as fast as some of the ones we were seeing a little earlier, so let me point out a couple roads here for you. Here's Highway 17, and it's just crossing Highway 17 around Ashepoo right now. Here's Highway 17A, which goes from Cottageville over toward Walterboro. There's Highway 64. Highway 64 comes out of Charleston County and heads into Colleton County there, right around the Edisto River. So here's Ritter, there's Ashepoo Crossing, that's 303 right there. It's the spots that are just north of Highway 303 that I'm most concerned with. So just off to the north of Ritter, up there toward... Yes, so we are seeing that rotation right in here. So the green that you're seeing there, the bright green, that's the wind coming back toward the radar. The radar is back behind me. So the radar is seeing the raindrops moving this direction, and the radar is seeing the raindrops moving that direction. Right in here, that's where the rotation is. So when you see those different direction raindrops very close to one another, that's where you've got the rotation in the thunderstorm. So Doppler radar, very good at seeing toward and away from the radar motions. And that's what we're seeing right around the intersection of Highway 303 and 17 there, heading up toward Highway 64. Highway 64 takes you right into Walterboro, and that's going to stay just off to the north of Highway 303 as it heads up toward Highway 64. So out in this area, there is a lot of salt marsh. There's a lot of logging areas. But if you live in this area, please take cover right now. Right around Ashepoo Crossing, right around Ritter, Burnt Church Crossroads. Those are the spots where you want to take cover right now as this thunderstorm continues to push farther inland up toward Highway 64. So a tornado warning. And it doesn't matter if this storm is producing straight line winds or a tornado, it has the possibility to cause damage, and that's what we're watching. So possibly some damaging winds or the rotation of that thunderstorm in this area right here. Sonia, can we get back to the regular radar as well? Maybe
they can. Why don't they switch over back to max 1?
If we could switch back to max 1, right there we go. So this is our thunderstorm. This is the regular reflectivity view that you're used to seeing on the news most often. And the dark red area is the area where we do have the tornado warning. So up toward Drawdy, up toward Walterboro, you're under that tornado warning. So make sure you're in your safe place, because sometimes this rotation spins around inside of the thunderstorm, so it could head back over toward 303 there and continue up toward Walterboro. I think it's going to cross 17A here between Cottageville and Walterboro, staying just off to the north of Walterboro, but very close to Walterboro. Both Walterboro and Cottageville are under the tornado warning. So if you're in either of those spots, make sure to get to your safe place now. What you want to do is crank up the volume on your TV so you can hear the instructions from Sonia and I as this storm continues to push farther inland back toward I-95. So we are going to watch that thunderstorm, and it's not a real big thunderstorm, and these tornadoes aren't real big. They're not like the big wedge tornadoes that you see out on the plains in Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska. They're very small tornadoes, and they spin up very quickly. They dissipate very quickly, but they can do that damage. They're usually EF0s, EF1s, and they've got winds about 75 to 100 miles an hour. And what that does, it knocks over the tree branches, it knocks over the trees, and that's where our damage is caused. And that's what we're seeing as this storm pushes inland. It's going to be real close to Walterboro, so Walterboro, please take cover right now. It's right in between Highway 64 here and Highway 303 to the south. So it's right in that wedge there as it comes up toward Walterboro. So we're going to continue to watch that thunderstorm push inland through Colleton County. And there are several thunderstorms rolling in off the Atlantic Ocean, and we're going to see several more rounds of this through about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. This isn't the end. In fact, things are just getting going, and I think things are going to get worse overnight tonight. This particular hurricane, we were never worried about the threat from flash flooding with this storm. We were never worried about the storm surge. What we've been worried about is the hurricane or the tornado threat, because we're in the northeast quadrant of the hurricane, and we're going to be in that northeast quadrant for quite a while, like I say, until about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So the tornado threat is going to stick around for a while. Ashepoo right there, Ashepoo Crossing right there on Highway 303. And this is going to continue to push inland through Colleton County, putting down heavy rain as it goes. There could be some localized flooding, some ponding of water on the roadways. And don't go out into this, especially at night. Things get very dangerous when you can't see what's going on outside. So it's dark outside, you can't see anything if it's coming at you, and you just need to be inside of a sturdy building away from the windows with the volume on your TV turned up so you can get the instructions. So Walterboro is just starting to see the first edge of that storm with some moderate to heavy rainfall. That's going to continue to intensify. The winds will continue to pick up, and hopefully there's no damage, but we are watching this push a little bit farther inland. What do you have over there, Sonia?
Just looking around, just watching that rotation kind of move northward. So yeah, folks in Walterboro definitely need to be in their safe place right now. No real updates from the National Weather Service. Again, just reiterating some of the spots in this warning: Walterboro, Ritter, Green Pond, Ashepoo, and at this point it's moving kind of around Ashepoo siding, that area. Low Country Regional Airport, Colleton Medical Center. These are all areas in that warning right now. And it could even cross over I-95 between mile markers 53 and 61.
Right in that area right there, this is I-95 right there. So it's really, it looked like it was going to push up a little bit closer to Highway 64, but it's really tracking along Highway 303 right now.
Yeah,
so,
it is.
Continue to watch that move right along
So really
Highway
kind of heading
303.
toward like Ritter. That's like the area
Yes.
like under the gun right now.
Yes, so Ritter
like,
right about there. So it's moving in from Ashepoo siding on toward Ritter, and that's right along Highway 303 there. So if you live in Ritter, and there it is, you've got some very heavy rain now, likely some gusty winds right along Ritter Road, and other places like Possum Corner Road, Bowman Lane, Bonnie Doon Hunting Club Road there. So right along Highway 303, Runner Lane, there's Possum Corner Road once again. Be in your safe place right now if I'm naming off the street that you live on, because this thunderstorm moving very quickly inland, and I would imagine the circulation right about there right now, about halfway between Highway 17 and Walterboro on Highway 303, and that's going to continue to push right into downtown Walterboro. So Walterboro, please get in your safe place now. Do it while you can before the storm gets there, because even if there's not a tornado there, there will be strong gusty winds enough to do damage around your house, around the trees around your house, things like that. So please, if you live in Walterboro, seek safe shelter right now. That is a small interior room on the ground floor of your house. Make sure you protect your head. If you hear something going on out there, make sure that you stay safe out there. So do you have something on max 2, Sonia?
Yeah, tell them to take max 2.
Okay, here it is. What you want to do, you don't want to be on the second floor. You don't want to be out in the living room. You don't want to be near a window. What you want to do, this is how my house is. I've got a staircase there and a powder room underneath the staircase. That is exactly where I would be if a tornado were headed toward my house. Another good place to be, maybe a laundry room, maybe a coat closet. Maybe you have a large pantry on the first floor of your house away from the windows. Those are great places to be. We don't have basements around here. If you're in a mobile home, get out of a mobile home and get into a safe building, into a building. You don't want to be in a mobile home during a tornado. Cars, you shouldn't even be out in your cars right now. You should be in your house, making sure that you are staying safe. So those are the safe spots to be. Let's go ahead and get back over to max 1, and we're looking at that thunderstorm continuing to push right along Highway 303. There's Ritter right there. It's right around Ritter, the heaviest of the storm. Just starting to see some of the heaviest of the rain working into Walterboro. You're going to get a brief heavy downpour here, and you're going to be looking at the strong gusty winds. Sonia, what do you have?
All right, so they just pushed an update. So now they're saying that storm capable of producing a tornado is located near Walterboro.
So right into Walterboro.
And it's moving northwest at 40, so it's really moving fast now.
Zipping along. So if you're in Walterboro, now is the time to be in your safe place, and make sure to turn up the volume on your TV so that you can hear our instructions as this storm moves into downtown Walterboro. So here you go. Here are some of the streets. River Street right there, Cumberland Road. There's downtown Walterboro, right along Carr Street, right along Black Street. And this is going to continue to move right through downtown. There's Proctor Street, Ivanhoe Drive, Ireland Hills Drive. The Ireland Creek runs through there, and the Ireland Creek, when it fills up with water, usually it spills out of its banks. Hopefully that's not going to be the case this time. I don't think the rain's going to be quite heavy enough to do that, but we're worried about the tornado threat right now. Moving toward downtown Walterboro along Klein Street there, we're starting to see some of the heavier rain working into downtown Walterboro. And we're going to continue to watch that storm move very quickly off to the north and west. As Sonia said, about 40 miles an hour right there from Highway 303 into downtown Walterboro. That'll continue to push it up to places like Stokes. So if you live in Stokes, be aware this thunderstorm is headed your way. It is going to cross I-95. Whether there's a tornado at that time, we won't know, but hopefully folks take a break on I-95 and wait until this thunderstorm passes by, because it does have rotation, it does have gusty winds. Even the gusty winds can cause some of those pine trees to snap and come down along I-95. There's Thayer. Make sure you're in your safe place around Thayer. This thunderstorm very quickly moving into downtown Walterboro. Sonia, let's go ahead and take a larger view of what's going on, because there are some showers and thunderstorms coming in off the ocean. And see, we had a little break, but now that break is starting to fill back in again. So this is the next feeder band from Savannah down toward Brunswick. And what do you see around Brunswick? Another tornado warning. So these bands, it's not just this first one. It's all these little individual cells out over the Atlantic Ocean. What they're trying to do is spiral their way all the way back into the center of Helene, which is down in the Gulf of Mexico now. We're several hundred miles from the center of Helene. Helene is getting closer to landfall, so we're sitting about 8:20, so probably about 10, 11 o'clock tonight. That storm is going to come on shore somewhere in the Big Bend of Florida, and there we go. Over 350 miles from the center of where that storm is. So 350 to almost 400 miles from the center of the storm. And we're seeing the feeder bands come in over top of us. And you're seeing those really start to take shape here out of the Atlantic Ocean. So before, this storm was in the Gulf of Mexico. So most of the impact was Gulf of Mexico moisture. Now we're starting to see an influx of Atlantic Ocean moisture. And that's really fueling the thunderstorms coming up over top of us. See, there was that nice break there. I was hopeful we'd have a little bit of a quiet evening, because I know it's going to be active starting at midnight through about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, because that's when we have to deal with that. We're not getting the center of the storm here. The center of the storm is going to stay off to our west back into Georgia. But we're going to be on the periphery of this storm, right on the fringe. And since we're on the fringe, it's these feeder bands that I've been concerned with for the last several days, spinning off the Atlantic Ocean over top of us. And unfortunately, we are getting the tornado warnings. We knew it was inevitable. We've had a tornado watch out since 7:30 this morning. And that tornado watch is likely going to be out until at least 7:30 tomorrow morning. So we're talking about 24 hours now of tornado watch being likely. So this is a very long tornado watch, and now we're seeing the tornado warnings as these thunderstorms spiral in off the Atlantic Ocean. See? That Atlantic moisture is now starting to try to fuel the storm as it heads closer to the Big Bend of Florida. Now, as far as storms, that's a Category 4 hurricane. Last check I did, 130-mile-an-hour winds, Sonia. They've been updating.
Right, I'm seeing it. They're updating. I feel like they're updating it every hour now that it's getting close to landfall.
They've been updating it quite a bit. The hurricane hunters are constantly in this storm monitoring it as it gets close to the Big Bend. Right there is Cedar Key.
Let's see. Yeah, so it's about 80 miles west-southwest of Cedar Key right now.
That's Cedar Key right there.
Let's see. Maximum sustained winds 130. Moving north-northeast at 23.
So 23 miles an hour is very fast for a tropical system. So it's really zipping along. So it's going to move through very quickly. But until this spot of the storm is north of us, we're going to be seeing the tornado threat. So it's probably going to be somewhere right about here, just off to the west of Augusta. That's where that storm has to get to shut off the tornado threat for us here in the low country. So we've got tornado warnings out there around Brunswick and some nasty storms coming in there. Fortunately, no tornado warnings in downtown Charleston right now and points north. The one spot we're seeing, and that storm does look like it's weakening as it pushes into Walterboro, but Walterboro,
watching the radar,
you are still under a tornado warning. With that one cell right there.
That rotation's still, I mean, it's not falling apart like the other ones as quickly as we would like it to.
So likely we've had a tornado ongoing right along Highway 303 headed toward downtown Walterboro. Hopefully there is not any damage, but the worst of the thunderstorm right over top of Walterboro right now. So there's 303 that I've been talking about coming into downtown Walterboro. Here's 17A coming in from the north and the east. There's downtown Walterboro, 303, there's 17A headed out of town over toward I-95. Here's Highway 64. All of those intersecting right in Walterboro. So the worst of the thunderstorm with the heaviest of the rain, the gustiest of the winds, and the possible tornado right over top of downtown Walterboro right now. So there's Ivanhoe Drive right there, Hare's Corner Road, and this thunderstorm just continues to push off to the northwest. It is moving very quickly, moving through at about 40 miles an hour. But if you're in Walterboro, you need to be in the safe place of your house right now. Wait this one out. Give it 15, 20 minutes until it passes through. That's all the longer you need because it will be moving through very quickly. We do have the warning out until 8:30.
8:45.
8:45, they extended it. So I believe it was 8:30.
Or was it?
I believe so now it's 8:45, but
it's
either way,
8:45,
out until 8:45. So there's the worst of that thunderstorm in downtown Walterboro. I know sometimes this gets repetitive, but you never know when somebody's going to join our coverage and need that life-saving information. That's why we give it. And right now in downtown Walterboro, we're looking at the gusty winds. We're looking at the possibility of a tornado. We're looking at the heavy rain. So this could cause some localized flooding. And as far as those gusty winds, I'm not worried about a tornado coming in and wiping your house off the face of the earth. What I'm worried about are the trees snapping around your house and those breaking out windows or doing some roof damage or siding damage. So just be in your safe place. You don't want to be outside. And if there is some damage in your area, please be very, very careful and notify the authorities as soon as possible before you go out there, because if there is damage, likely there are power lines that are down. And now that it's dark outside, you can't see those power lines on the ground. And if you come in contact with one of those, it's game over. So keep that in mind. This is a life and death situation where you want to stay safe, and that's why we're giving you all this information. Things looking a little better around Thayer right now, but downtown Walterboro, looking at the heaviest part of that thunderstorm coming through. Now around Ashepoo, things look much better. That's where this storm originally started, moving through Colleton County, crossing Highway 17 right there. Things are looking better around Ashepoo. Things are looking better around Ashepoo Crossing. Drawdy might want to wait another 15 minutes or so. Walterboro certainly under the gun right now. And now up towards Stokes. This is moving in your direction. So as this storm crosses I-95, Stokes under the tornado warning as well until 8:45. So here's Highway 15 coming in from the north. So it's crossing Highway 15 right now, headed toward I-95. And this will continue to move off to the north and west about 40 miles an hour. So this thunderstorm zipping along very quickly, and these thunderstorms aren't going to stick around long. They're very fast moving. The tornadoes that they do produce are very small, they're very weak, but they do damage as they pop up and they spin down to the ground. So right now, downtown Walterboro, make sure you're in your safe place. Things are looking much better around Drigger Crossroads. So that's a little bit north and east of Walterboro, headed back toward Cottageville along Highway 17A. There's Highway 64 moving right into downtown Walterboro, and right along Highway 15 down toward 303. That's where some of the heaviest of the rain is right now. You want to wait this one out indoors because it is producing torrential rain to go along with that. What do you have over there, Sonia?
So the rotation is looking much broader, which is good.
Okay.
But again, we've still got about another 15 minutes under the warning. So you can see, but from Drawdy basically toward Walterboro, that's kind of where we're seeing the rotation right now. If you want to switch over and take a look at Max 2. But see how much broader it is than
absolutely.
it was. All right, let's see.
Absolutely.
They just pushed another. Let's see.
So here's the strong wind headed back toward the radar, and the radar is over there toward Yemassee. So there's that wind going toward the radar. Here's the wind going away from the radar, and you can actually see the raindrops rotating around that area. So what was the update, Sonia?
So it's moving north at 30, and they're still saying it's located around the Walterboro area. So again, it's just so broad.
Yep.
Between Walterboro and Drawdy. And again, we're looking at, all right, we're looking at, getting some updates in. So moving north at 30, still radar indicated. And then something else, Dave, that I saw that came through, we've got roads closed in downtown Charleston because of flooded roadways.
Oh, okay.
So that doesn't have to do with Colleton County, but we want to make sure everybody is in the loop. So maybe once we get through the tornado warning, we can walk people through that. But right now we are looking at just that broad rotation, just no other updates. But it has slowed down, so it's moving northwest at, 40? Now
Yes.
it's moving at 30.
Yes.
So it's slowed down a little bit broader. It looks like, you know what, it looks like they've scaled back from the warning a little bit. So
Okay.
if we want to go back, yeah,
Well,
they have.
And Sonia, let's go back to Max 1. I was really
Yeah.
hopeful that we'd see that break this evening, and we just haven't gotten it. So,
Yeah. They have scaled back. If we go to Max 1, they have scaled back on the warning.
There it is,
So
yeah. And there's where
Drawdy,
yep.
Walterboro, Stokes. I think it's really, don't you agree, west of Drigger Crossroads. But,
Yes, yes.
Thayer, I think you're kind of on the edge there in Thayer, especially on the northwest side of town, but really Walterboro right now. And like you said, you've named a lot of the street names, but some pretty main highways go through there.
Including I-95.
And it could cross over Interstate 95.
The busiest road from Miami to New York. So this is going to go right across I-95 there. So
and Dave, I just really hope that people just stay home tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's
it's 8:30 at night.
It's 8:30 at night. We've had a tornado watch in effect, like you said, since 7:30 this morning. I'm sure we're going to hear very soon that will be extended.
Yeah.
So people just need to stay home. The other thing is download the app because, in fact, perfect example, Kirsten Clark was at home and the tornado warning, her phone alerted her, right, the part of town she lives in earlier, and so they got up, they went to their safe place. So yeah, it's easy to download your weather app. We've got all the information, the QR code for you there. Make sure the notifications are turned on. That's key once you download it. And then it's going to wake you up if it needs to wake you up, which is important. You can go to your safe place.
Well, and Sonia, I'm not the biggest proponent of weather apps, but the one thing that the weather app is good for, it gives you that radar just as good as we have right here. And it gives you those watches and warnings as soon as they're issued from the National Weather Service. So the actual forecast that an app spits out, I'm not impressed with. I never have been. I probably never will be. But what I am impressed with is it gets people the watches and the warnings, and it helps to save lives. So that's what we're trying to do around Walterboro right now. We do have the tornado warning in effect for about the next less than 15 minutes, about 10 minutes now. And this thunderstorm is going to be crossing I-95 up towards Stokes, right across Highway 64. So it's really been tracking along Highway 303 and Highway 64 through Colleton County into Walterboro. And now it's going to kind of continue to push over toward Highway 64 into western Colleton County there on the other side of I-95. So do we have the radar again, Sonia?
Let me pop the radar back on. Yeah, I'm just trying to watch rotation as well.
So there it is. And the worst of the storm stretches right now from Walterboro on over towards Stokes.
Yep.
And I think the worst of the storm really is right here along Highway 64, right at the intersection of I-95. So this is where we're looking at some of that rotation. Stokes up toward Jones.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, you want roads.
Let's see, Up Church Lane right there, Evergreen Lane. So these are some
Quail
of the spots.
Drive, Parkwood.
Railroad
Circle.
Street, some of the streets on the other side of I-95 there, Jones Swamp Road. I think that's it.
Lane, Stillwater Road.
McClure Lane there. Stillwater Road. So as this continues to push off to the north and west, those are some of the areas that are under the gun. Stokes, if you live there, please take cover immediately. This thunderstorm, even if it's not producing a tornado, is producing heavy rain and gusty winds. Make sure also things are starting to quiet down a little bit around Walterboro. Probably the worst is past you now. I'd wait another 5-10 minutes or so. But if you do have some damage, make sure to call the authorities. Let them know. Don't try to go out and clean it up yourself until they give you the all clear, because we don't want you to get hurt or injured or possibly even worse if you go out into a damaged scene. So there could be down power lines, and that's what I'm most concerned with as these thunderstorms continue to rotate in. If we take a larger view of the radar here, we can see exactly what's going on. And here, now we're starting to see the radar really fill in from Savannah down toward Brunswick. And these are the showers and thunderstorms that are going to start to head toward Beaufort again. We're going to be looking not so much heavy rainfall. That's not my biggest concern. It's the fact that these thunderstorms are rotating even farther inland. Sonia, a lot of times when we see these thunderstorms, it's within like 5 or 10 miles of the coast.
Right.
But these are making it farther inland. We've seen these thunderstorms make it all the way in toward Hemingway in Williamsburg County earlier. This is around Walterboro. We've seen some around Lodge very early this morning. So these thunderstorms are taking the tornado potential much farther inland. So we're looking at our tornado potential all the way inland to at least Orangeburg. So that's everybody in the viewing area. Everyone in the viewing area is under that tornado threat. You might be saying, hey, get this guy off the air. Make sure we can see our programs. Well, later tonight and early tomorrow morning, if a tornado is headed toward your house, you'll want me to be here giving you that information, and that's what we're going to continue to do. So we're watching these showers and thunderstorms continue to rotate in off the Atlantic Ocean from Jacksonville up toward Savannah. This is a pretty nasty looking band that's going to come in here very early in the morning, probably about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and that's going to create probably our biggest tornado threat. And that will be for everyone in the viewing area. So that's why Sonia mentioned you need to have that ABC News 4 weather app, because it does have an alarm. And if you're asleep, the alarm goes off, you get to your safe place, everybody wakes up tomorrow, and we can clean up any damage that does occur from these thunderstorms. What do you have over there, Sonia?
Let's see. So nothing new to report from the Weather Service. We're looking at about, 9 minutes for this current tornado warning. So it's continuing to move off toward the north at about 30 miles per hour. So we'll go ahead and zoom back in. Yep, right there. There we go. So it's really north of Walterboro at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm like tracking the rotation as well, and yeah, I mean very broad, and it's really moved off toward the north. So yeah, maybe a little bit, seeing a little bit of rotation, maybe kind of on the north.
I would think if you're in Walterboro right now, you're pretty much in the clear, as long as you're east of I-95. So if you're east of I-95 in Walterboro,
Agreed.
You should be okay.
Yeah.
West of I-95, still be in your safe place. And that's where we were talking about places like Stokes, and just off to the north of Highway 64 there as it comes out of Walterboro. So there is Stokes right there,
Yep.
and right on the edge of the warning, but this could continue even outside of the warning area. When you're under a tornado watch, that means conditions are favorable for a tornado to form with little or no advanced warning, especially with tropical tornadoes. They pop up very, very quickly, and they're in and out very quickly. Usually they dissipate within a few minutes. So, but this one, we have been watching the rotation as it pushes off to the west of I-95. Right there's Walterboro. So if you live in Walterboro and you're east of I-95, you're in the clear right now. So if there has been some damage in your area, please notify the authorities and let them come out, survey the damage, and let you know how to get things cleaned up as quickly as possible. Right now, the heaviest of the rain just off to the north and east of Stokes, just off to the west of I-95 there, continuing to move through west central Colleton County, right there around Mount Carmel Road, Creek Road. That's where we're seeing some of the heaviest of the rain. Flooding isn't a major concern here, but the tornadoes certainly a major concern with these thunderstorms. So this continues to push a little bit farther inland. Some very heavy rain there. Not seeing a whole lot of lightning with these thunderstorms, so I guess it's just showers and storms with embedded tornadoes. So that's what we're watching right now. And I do expect the thunderstorms to get even worse overnight tonight, especially headed toward daybreak tomorrow. I think our worst round of weather will be probably sometime from about 3 in the morning till about 8 in the morning. So there's about a 5-hour stretch in there when I really think some of those strongest feeder bands come through, and that's when the storm continues to push a little bit farther inland into Georgia. So it's like a figure skater. When a figure skater spins around very quickly, they have their arms pulled in like this, and they spin more quickly. Now, when a figure skater takes their arms and they put them out like this, then they spin much more slowly. A hurricane does the same thing. It's spinning very quickly out over the ocean, but once it hits land, it starts to spin more slowly. And just like a figure skater spreading out their arms, the hurricane does the same thing and spreads those winds, spreads those thunderstorms out even farther. And that's what we're going to see into the day tomorrow. So even though we're hundreds of miles from the center of the storm, we're still going to be dealing with the impacts all the way through the morning.
Bill Burr just spoke with the PIO for Colleton Fire Rescue. So far, no damage to report, but everyone should continue to stay, alert and safe. Like Dave said, don't venture out, At any point tonight, there's no reason to be out tonight because these things spin up so quickly. We're having a hard time even tracking them because they're moving so quickly.
Yep, and they impact such a small area.
Right.
Maybe 1 or 2 little neighborhoods here or there.
Right.
It's not going to impact an entire area. It's just a very small little neighborhood or something like that, a little spot in the woods. So there's the heaviest of the rain right now. Just off to the west of I-95, there's I-95 and that very heavy rain coming down. So we're at about 8:40. Do they still have the warning in effect?
Expired.
Okay, so we expired the warning. So I do apologize for breaking in to your regularly scheduled programming, but we want to make sure everybody in the low country has an opportunity to stay safe, whether it's you, whether it's your neighbor, whether it's somebody down the road. We're going to make sure that everybody stays safe through this storm. We'll continue to monitor it, and there is Helene down in the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long early morning. I don't think conditions will really improve much until we get to about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Skies will clear quickly then, but we'll still be looking at some gusty winds headed into the afternoon, but at least the tornado threat will be gone. We'll continue to monitor the situation through the evening. If we have any warnings, we'll break in and let you know as soon as possible. But now we return you to your regular programming. We'll go ahead and check.